Brilliant. Thanks so much, everyone, for having me here, and I'm really grateful to be here. And today I'll tell you a little bit more about what we're trying to do in this space. So with Impli, we want to deliver remote diagnostics with implantable products in the infertility market. At the moment, IVF treatment, she has to do blood diagnostics every 2 days and therefore has to go to the clinic every 2 days. Then the doctor takes that data and makes informed decisions based upon that, depending on the protocol that she uses or goes for. That will ultimately give a 15 to 30% success rate within that treatment. What we at Impli want to do is really allow women to have remote diagnostics so they don't have to go to the clinic every 2 days, and so that the clinicians get to make much more informed decisions and therefore increase precision medicine. And we want to do this with implantables. First thing you're going to ask us is, why implantables? Why not wearables or portable devices? Well, implantables are very remote and very specific, something that wearables and portable devices aren't. And this is really why they are the best fit for this application and for making clinical decisions. We've asked IVF clinics and patients if they wanted to have an Impli with them and if they would recommend Impli forwards. We asked 12 clinics all over the world, in Australia, in America, and in the EU. And 50% of the clinics said that they're interested in participating in our clinical trials and that they would recommend our device to their patients, with the biggest benefit them seeing being the remote access part. And 60% of the 48 patients undergoing IVF today said that they would buy the Impli device if it were available now. Now, implantables have existed in another market, in the diabetics market, for quite a long time now, and Dexcom by far is the longest existing there is. However, how we are different is that we're not going after the diabetic market and that we are wearable independent. We've got an expert team, both on the scientific side as well as the commercial product out of its existence. So how our products work is with a small biosensor technology that sits in a glass encapsulation and interfaces to near-field communication. What that means is that everyone can access the data that the implantable captures with their mobile smart device. And this data then can be read out into our machine learning data analytics platform, which can then make informed decisions or give patients as well as clinicians a better platform to make decisions of. However, we're not just fertility, and fertility is a huge market in itself. So we could be looking at miscarriages or at hormone imbalances. Sensor platform so that we can also measure biomarkers in the cardiovascular disease space or the kidney disease space. And ultimately where we want to be is we want to be a remote diagnostics platform with high precision biomarkers for real precision medicine. We're currently raising £500,000 so that we can file patents and complete our prototypes that we then want to take through clinical trials. And then of course have to go for larger funding rounds thereafter.
30 seconds left.
Thank you very much. And any questions?
So yeah, judges, if you can turn back on your video and audio, and of course, Anna, if you could also stop sharing the screen for now.
Yeah. Here we go.
Cool. Can I kick off? Anna, can you tell what's the IP? Like, what's the core thing? You obviously mentioned that you were going to file some patents. I mean, what are those patents going to cover?
Absolutely. So we've got patents in different areas that we would like to file. We have one patent that we're filing at the moment with Imperial College, which is where we are spinning out the technology from, which is on the biosensor side. We are the patents that we can file in the space of encapsulation and electronics, which we want to go through, but we don't want to do that with an institutional, with a educational institution, because that's too restrictive for the future.
Okay, and so is that initial patent that's coming out of Imperial, is that not just applicable for the fertility market, but it's applicable for further applications too? It's sort of like the core. Yeah.
It's about the technology itself, and then we can further, of course, patent patients within this.
Cool.
Maybe just a bit of feedback. Go for it, Mohammed.
Go ahead, Natasha.
No, I was just going to bring it back a little bit to the market that you're addressing. There's a lot of kind of news flow shown in the last couple of months. Wearables are quite, wearable devices, implanted devices are quite controversial. How have you thought about kind of marketing this to end users? Have you heard any pushback, and what's the kind of consumer education piece there?
Yeah. 2 years on this market, and of course there's the ethical applications that really need to be considered and thought of, and also from a marketing perspective to bring this onto the market. In fertility, we specifically have less of a problem, just because women actually deal with implantables much more commonly than men, because they get asked want a subdermal contraceptive implant. And also the IUDs are also implantable devices in themselves. So they're used to this concept for the medical aspect of it. In general, for medical applications, if we look at diabetics, for example, the need mostly outweighs the questions that females have from that perspective. But from a go-to-market strategy, we are really looking to drive through the clinics of the clinician that obviously then also governs the data and makes his decisions from that.
In terms of medical regulation, given that there's an implantable device, I don't think there are that many on the market anyways. What do you foresee being, do you think it's going to be quite a hard process to actually get this approved? And I know you mentioned, diabetes is quite a market that already has implantable devices, but how do you see the medical regulations really affecting?
Yeah, actually, there's more than just diabetics. We also have several implantable devices. So, for example, the Endotronics device that came on the market, I think 2 years ago, now is also a smart device that's implantable and much more actionable. We classify as a Class 2B device. Our side, we are subdermal, so we don't go deeper into the tissue, and we're not a pacemaker kind of device where it's life-saving. So that's of course also a side that's benefit to us. We do. You're right. So there is a hurdle to overcome from that perspective. However, I see that also as a barrier for other competitors to come into the market, and for us actually to establish a very nice kind of route to market where there's no out there, and where we have a very strong lock-in between hardware and software.
Great response. Just one from me as well. It's just on the kind of financials of this. So. There's a bit of noise around here. So in terms of diabetes, so if your friends are diabetic, and the cost of the device was initially very prohibitive, especially for players like the NHS, and kind of adoption drove that cost down. How much will this cost? And have you thought about the manufacturing element of this and things around kind of the cost of this and the margins?
Yeah, absolutely. We thought about it a lot, and some of these elements are still a little bit unclear to us. So there's obviously also adaptation in the future. At the moment, how we costed it was a woman already spends in diagnostics today. So if she wasn't going to have an Impli device, how much would she spend? Which is around £1,200 per IVF cycle that she spends just on. And we took that price and we pegged it to that. However, if we can prove in our clinical trials better outcome, right? So we save an entire IVF cycle, then increase to £5,000 more. So I think the diabetic space is a bit different because it's obviously constant, whereas an IVF more cycles, and then it's mostly privately funded, which was one of the reasons why we chose the we saw an easier way in.
Thank you very much, Anna. This is the end of the time. Obviously, that was a very great pitch. Thank you very much.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks so much for the question.
No so yeah, I'll be bringing Klaus now from DigiShares.
See me?
Hi, Klaus. Hope you're well and ready. Please do go ahead with sharing your PowerPoint, and then we'll just dive in straight away.
All right, I'm ready.
Yeah, great. And Frederick, if you can also turn off your video, thank you very much. Ready whenever you.
I should just start.
Yeah, of course.
All right, great. Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Now to something completely different. My name is Klaus Skåning. I'm the CEO of DigiShares. We provide a white label tokenization platform for real estate and other types of assets. A tokenization is the concept of representing securities such as shares and bonds as tokens on the blockchain. We are among the leaders in the space globally and currently raising around a $5 million seed round. Our mission is to bring automation and liquidity to the real estate market by providing real estate developers with a platform that gives them control over fundraising and ongoing management of their shareholders, as well as a trading platform for their investors. The real estate industry is primed for disruption. Only 7% of global real estate assets are available to retail investors, whereas more than 80% of these consider real estate to be a good investment. We want to help close this gap. Also, real estate financing and management processes are slow, complex, and paper-based. We can help optimize that. The typical size of a real estate investment is from 100,000 and upwards. We can help democratize that and reduce that to 100 or 1,000. Our white label solution digitizes and automates real estate processes. We enable liquidity through our built-in bulletin board marketplace. We digitize and streamline maintenance of ownership structures and cap tables, and we enable the developers to attract entire new segments of investors with smaller ticket sizes. The real estate market is the single largest asset class that is ripe for tokenization. The total market is $228 trillion. With primary focus on the US real estate market and being able to extract approximately 40 basis points annually, and with a significant market penetration, we are left with an obtainable market of at least 1.6 billion US. Our team is highly experienced and covers both tech and finance. I have a PhD in computer science and many years experience as a CEO in tech startups, including one exit in the AI space. Bjørn, our VP of Business Development, has many years experience in investment banking and hedge funds. Gabriel, the head of our new US office, has similar experience. And we are also hiring a new highly experienced CTO. And in the right side, you can see our advisory board consisting of top executives from the Danish banking and finance industry. We see a massive inflow of new leads with 4 to 5 leads per day right now. We sign up 2-3 new clients per month and expect to sign up 5 to 10 per month at the end of the year. We have partnered with most of the industry-leading exchanges and technology providers. We also organized a leading industry conference in May with top speakers, and we have just issued a leading industry report. We are raising a $5 million seed round, yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Klaus. And if you can stop sharing the screen, so just kind of go ahead with the questions and feedback.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Can I ask about the impact of the pandemic? I mean, how's that affected, do you think, the demand for your product? Because I think the real estate industry has sort of been turned on its head a little bit, hasn't it?
The real estate industry has actually grown through the epidemic. Real estate pricing has increased. Of course, certain types of real estate, like commercial real estate, shopping centers, and hotels, and so on, have suffered. But the entire industry overall has grown in size. And I think where the real estate industry has traditionally been very paper-based and sealing deals with a handshake, now they have sort of been forced to consider much more digital ways of doing their work, and that's been to our advantage, I think. So we are into digitization of real estate processes, and I think that the epidemic has actually helped us in that regard.
Question from me. So Octopus Ventures, where I'm from, we're investors in Property Partner, which similarly tried to democratize access to real estate investment for kind of retail investors. One of the main problems they had wasn't necessarily turning a property into kind of subunits that could be sold. It was actually building a supply of properties and a demand, and it's kind of a marketplace. So how are you thinking about building both of those sides up simultaneously?
So right now we only work on one side of the marketplace. We work with the developers or the issuers, you could say, the sellers of the properties. We don't currently have an investor database or a way to connect our clients to investors directly. So we primarily sign up real estate developers who already have, you could say, a network of investors around their company and are sort of primarily interested in using the system to digitize and automate processes and to enable more liquidity. But longer term, we do have a strategy for also sort of working on the other side, which includes building a kind of exchange, a decentralized exchange, where we can allow investors to invest into real estate properties. So that's a longer term strategy for us. But it's a great question. We have many companies contacting us, expecting also that we will help them to find the investors. That's not the case right now, at least.
And just to understand the product specifically, you guys basically help real estate companies. You provide a digital platform to allow them to split up their real estate assets and be able to sell that to retail investors. Is that correct?
Correct.
And then what's the benefit of using blockchain to do that?
There are several benefits. One is that we can automate processes to a much higher degree than what is possible without blockchain. So the way that we work is that we can take normal currency as input to the system. We can then convert it into a corresponding stablecoin or cryptocurrency. And then we can transact all internal processes on the blockchain and actually automate them to a degree that the administrator or the issuer doesn't have to be participating in the process at all. So investors can purchase into projects, invest into projects in a fully automated way. The developer can pay out dividends to 1,000 investors just by clicking a single button. And investors can also trade on the platform in a peer-to-peer fashion without any kind of intervention from the issuer or administrator, fully automated. And that cannot be done without blockchain. The second advantage is that we are just a player in the overall blockchain ecosystem. So if you issue securities on our platform, you can trade them on other platforms, and you can use them for collateralization of loans in the DeFi lending system, and we are interoperable and compatible with many other companies. So it's not siloed.
And is there anyone else doing this? Or are you guys the first people?
We are not the first. There are maybe, I would say, something like 5, 6, 7 companies doing overlapping things compared to us globally. In Europe, maybe 2 or 3 or 4 of us. In the US, maybe also 3 or 4, something like that. But of course, we try to keep a unique differentiation and positioning compared to the others.
Yeah, sorry if we have time for quick questions. So what's your fundraising strategy at the moment? So what types of funds are you targeting? We are targeting, I would say, both venture funds and family offices and so on, also business angels, but we prefer to get strategic investors. I would say that's the priority number 1. So you could say investors that are associated with the real estate industry, and also investors who are associated with the blockchain domain that can help us to grow the business.
Or quick feedback, or
maybe quick feedback. So I know you put a lot of focus on blockchains. I think it's a very important aspect of your business. But maybe add a slide or 2 just to describe the actual problem you're solving. So I think it took me a little bit of time to actually understand, what you're actually providing. Yeah. But yeah, that's a bit of quick feedback.
Sure. Yeah. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Mohammed. That was great. Thank you for the pitch, Klaus. I can also see a message in the chat box for you, so if you can just respond to Farouk in the chat box. But yeah, thank you very much for the great pitch. So I'll be bringing now Richard from Creative Being. Hi, Richard. Hope you're well. If you can just
Hi, it's actually it's Michael. I'm Richard's co-founder.
Oh, right, my bad. Okay, yeah, of course, yeah. If you can just go ahead and obviously share with the presentation, and then we'll start. Oh yeah, sorry, Klaus. Let me just. I'll have to remove you. Thank you.
moment.
Thank you very much. I'm just ready whenever you are.
Okay, great. I'm Dr. Michael Bloomfield. I'm an anthropologist and I study human thought and behavior. And I want to talk to you today about creativity, something I've been studying for 30 years. Creativity is simply the ability to think original thoughts, and it's now being recognized as an essential skill to have. The World Economic Forum says it's now the third most important skill in the entire world of work. We also know from science that just doing as little as a few minutes of creative thinking a day has measurable benefits on mental and emotional health, which is important since 2 billion people now suffer from brain-based health challenges. And it's even been found that doing regular creativity in middle age reduces rates of dementia in old age by 73%. But there's a major problem. Our natural creativity is crushed by society. That means the education system, work culture, stress, and other factors. We're actually living in what scientists are calling the creativity crisis. Since the mid-90s, average scores on creativity tests have actually been falling year on year, but it gets worse. While many scientific studies have proved that creative thinking ability can be increased, there isn't and has never been a systematic method for teaching creative thinking to anyone. You know, where's the yoga of creativity? Where's the jujitsu of creativity? The answer is nowhere. That's what we've created. The world's first creativity learning system condensed into an app. It's called Creative Being. Daily exercises last as little as a minute, just like brain training apps and meditation apps. Unlike brain training apps, though, our exercises are based on scientifically validated techniques. So we occupy a truly unique space in the market. The app provides a score that builds over time to engage and motivate users. And there's a range of activities, including creative meditations, creative sleep exercises, and more. We've also developed a version of the app for businesses so they can really unlock the creative potential of their people. Now over to my co-founder, Richard.
Thank you. So is there a big prize? Well, the digital personal development and corporate skills market is growing at 15% per annum and be worth an estimated 27 billion by 2027. Focus is important, so we're targeting Europe and North America first, with the rest of the world and new segments such as health to follow. Our business model is simple and scalable and generates around £25 per user per annum, with more services to be added to increase this. Through research, we estimate there are 124 million target users in the personal and enterprise segments. In Europe and North America alone, this is a potential addressable income pool of around £3 billion. At each stage, we've been careful and carried out research and testing to maximize our chances of success. This means we've covered app usability, the science, and its impacts. So after just one 4-minute exercise, 86% of people felt their creativity had already improved, and people scored 16% higher on one of the main recognized creativity tests. So how are we going to market initially? Digitally to end users, where we started building a wait list, to large enterprises where we're already at an advanced stage with a global FMCG business amongst others, and through partnerships. But we've also had interest from marketing agencies, from contributors to our app, providing some of the research secrets at the end of exercises and more. And that's before we started marketing. My name is Richard Dallas, and I look after the business side. And together with Michael, we've assembled a fantastic team covering product and marketing, finance and operations, and IT, in addition to ourselves. So why invest? Well, we've already sunk over £50,000 to date. The solution is built and in live proving. We're currently seeking a minimum of £150,000, but we'll happily accept and have opportunity to take more. And we're expecting our valuation to increase 4 to 5 times over the first 15 months for a larger raise to scale. How are we going to do that? By proving acquisition performance and costs, demonstrating our ability to win enterprise and through partnerships, more research into the benefits, plus testing the brain health use case. We'd love to have you all on board as investors, and thank you for listening.
Thank you guys for a presentation. Yeah, so first of all, some general comments. So I believe the deck should be a little bit, you know, more clear and more short, because I went through it before the event, and it was really difficult to go through a lot of text. Just, you know, much shorter and more clear. Question: so how are you going to compete with Headspace and Calm? Secret sauce or something?
Yeah, I mean, the simple question to that is that they don't do creative thinking. While we use many of the techniques that they use, relaxation exercises, meditation, contemplation, that kind of thing, we introduce a creativity element based on the research that I've done over many years, based on many of the principles that have been established in creativity science. There's nothing like that in what they do at all. And it's the same with brain training apps. They just do sort of IQ style thinking. There's nothing to do with your imagination, to do with, you know, helping you to combine and transform things in your imagination at all. So we are really unique in what we're offering.
Yeah, well, firstly, thank you for your feedback, and we'll take that on board. A couple of things we'd say is we have research users, and we know that about 35% of users don't want to use traditional brain training or meditation apps, and actually there's a substantial amount of people that use just don't like the experience they get with meditation apps. And so this actually gives a beneficial multiple benefits, not just one benefit. So it gives you a skill, trains your brain in that sense, but it also gives you the same benefits. It actually is more beneficial in that sense, and research tells us we should be successful based on that.
Got it. Thank you.
The main challenges that things like well-being apps face is user retention. So I think it's actually about 12% of users carry on using it after a month. It's really quite low. I'd love to hear your thoughts on how you're going to kind of keep users engaged throughout, you know, in the app, keep them on training and that kind of thing.
I mean, the great question. We have gamified it to an extent. So we give users a score, and we do reward them with points for consistent use. The other thing that's different is you actually can input your ideas into the app. So it's not just like you do an exercise and it's nice for that moment, and then you go away and then you come back and you do another one and that's it. You can actually build your ideas and work up your ideas and develop them in the app over time. And you actually, the ideas that you use, after a while, you start using ideas that you created a few weeks or a few months ago. So there's a sense of it connecting it all together and it being a kind of part of your daily imaginative process, which for me, it's much more engaging than something like a simple meditation exercise.
And Natasha, in addition to that, it progresses. So you deepen your learning as you go. Every time you complete an exercise, you get effectively a reward in terms of some insight. You learn a bit more of the science, etc. So there's quite a number of things we added in response to user feedback when we did the original beta trial. Yeah.
Slightly pseudoscience, the book, but it reminds me slightly of the Artist's Way, which really encourages kind of creative thought and creative development. Have you thought about like distribution and how you're going to kind of target a mass audience?
Yeah, so look, our plans for the first 15 months are really straightforward. We've been doing some user testing about types of adverts. So one route is going to be direct. So it's through a whole range of the various social media manager channels, so TikTok, etc. The other one, certainly initially, is going direct to enterprises. So we have quite reasonable networks, and actually, we've already had interested intermediaries that want to distribute it, who, like, for example, have big connections to HR or marketing directors of big firms where they're interested, through things like speaking engagements and others where you can engage the audience and therefore get people to be interested in it. So direct, and as I said, we've already got a small pipeline that we're working through with some quite substantial names. And once we think one or two of those names come on board and you can talk about them, it will attract others to the business, if that makes sense. And then through partnerships, there's been work in the past with the likes of the Guardian newspaper, with the likes of some major marketing agencies, etc., where there's a real keenness of once the app's live and it's in live proving now, that they want to work with us to kind of take it out potentially to either their readers or actually run big trials with their marketing teams and actually demonstrate some more real tangible business benefit in terms of economic benefit with some of their teams.
Thank you very much. And that's the end of your pitch. Thank you very much for a great pitch.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you very much. So next it will be Alexander and Callum from Hindsight. Although we are still waiting on Alexander. Oh, there he is. Okay. Hello, Callum again, and hi, Alexander again.
Hey guys, how are we?
If you can just go ahead with sharing your audio, sorry, your presentation, and we'll just dive in.
Sure thing. Can you see everything?
Yep, everything's great. And ready whenever you are.
Fantastic. Well, I'll start us off. I'm Alex, and I'm here today with Callum. We're the founders of Hindsight, and I'd like to start today with a question. If you got in your car this morning and found that your side and rear view mirrors were gone, you'd have a serious problem, and you probably wouldn't think that your car was safe. Hindsight was born out of the question, why don't cyclists think about this problem in the same way?
Currently, even professional cyclists look back by glancing over their shoulder. But of course, looking backwards means that you have to stop looking forwards. In 1 second, a commuter will travel 11 meters, with professionals easily doubling that. Every second on the road or the track is a second that you must be paying attention. Now, I appreciate that doesn't seem like a lot of time, but that second can give you the opportunity to seize gold or evade an accident.
With cycling being more popular now than ever, and electric bike sales, for example, outstripping electric car sales at a ratio of 10 to 1, personal mobility is increasing every day. With the way we get around changing so quickly, we need technology to make sure that we're doing it right. Well, our solution is Hindsight glasses. They include patented rearview mirror technology, allowing cyclists to make smarter and safer decisions in the same time with no visual impairment. Hindsight tech allows users to gather more information about their surroundings, improving reaction time to hazards in all directions. And crucially, they just work. You put them on and you're good to go.
With no true competition in the rear vision space, and having launched successfully as both the highest funded cycling glasses and cycling mirror in crowdfunding history, Hindsight is poised to utilize both first mover advantage and our current and future patents to capture the market.
So the story so far, in the last 13 months, Hindsight's raised around about £500,000, most of which came before we had either a product or a patent. We've already sold nearly 800 units across 38 countries, demonstrating a clear market demand for our technology. With shipping active right now and positive reviews flowing in, Hindsight is ready to move into our next phase, powered by a dedicated, motivated and experienced team. To name a few people on that team, we have Ian Crawford, the former CIO of Experian, managing our operations. We have a European Inventor of the Year, Bob Henderson, managing our optical systems. And of course, my colleague here today, Callum Skinner, winner of Olympic cycling gold and silver in the 2016 Rio Olympics, acting as our brand ambassador. I, Alexander, as CEO, will be leading the team in our upcoming growth phase.
Having established our beachhead market of early adopters, we are on track to achieve 6,000 sales this year. Following the initial traction, we will focus further on penetrating the market in year 2 and expanding our technology set in year 3. This will allow us to deploy new technology into new sectors in year 4 and build strategic partnerships to solidify the Hindsight sports brand in year 5.
So, Hindsight is seeking £900,000 to accelerate our growth. This capital will allow us to expand the range of choice available to consumers, develop new technologies, and explore new applications. We can further pursue our success in online marketing and PR, build strategic partnerships, and explore new possibilities for our technology. Since launching the Kickstarter, we've had hundreds of new use cases come to us, from rowers to engineers to wheelchair users to security services. It turns out that giving people eyes in the back of their heads is an exciting change for the world, and we're ready to meet these new use cases head on.
30 seconds left.
Hindsight is a world first, providing rear vision for cyclists in a compelling and safe way. We've demonstrated traction in an expanding market, and we're on track to generate £22 million of revenue by 2025-26. Now, Hindsight seeks the larger growth opportunity which this investment round will support.
With that, I would like to thank you for your time. For more information, feel free to get in touch with me at the email address on your screen there. And don't look back. We look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much, Alex. And if you can also stop sharing your screen, so it's just you and the judges yet.
Love the intro, Alex. I think that's a really nice capture of the audience. I think it's quite important. You know, we listen to so many pitches that starting the story or something to capture the imagination is quite good. I mean, I suppose the question, I'm not a cyclist, but I am someone who rides a bicycle. I do commute to work and around London. So what is besides sort of professional cyclists, do you see any use cases for everyday commuters, people using e-scooters, for example, or anything like that?
Yeah, the potential for it is huge, and we'd focus on urban mobility over just above cyclists. But in the cycling space, the single biggest answer that's given as to why people don't get on bikes is that they fear for their own safety. So we think we're a crucial part of that puzzle in giving cyclists more information and people who are using independent urban mobility as a whole, until infrastructure catches up or even beyond.
Tell us a little bit about how they work. Is it just like a reflective mirror?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
so we actually got our patent granted last month, which is nice. But they have an inbuilt mirrored angled system, which has been mathematically optimized to provide rear vision to the cyclist with a simple turn of the head. So the angled lens has the key technology in it, which allows you to see behind you fundamentally.
Cool. So no batteries.
No, we didn't. We thought about going down that route, and there are a few options out there. The trouble is they're expensive and they're difficult to use. They're not particularly intuitive. Garmin has released something which is kind of infrared sensor which tracks for cars behind you, and it's not done fantastically well. We've outstripped them tenfold easily since our launch, and they're a big established brand just because seeing things is so much easier than trying to have some kind of annoying camera or some kind of infrared sensor somewhere. We wanted something that was simple.
Can you just tell us a little bit about how you guys sort of met and got together and came up with the idea and were like, okay, we're going to turn this into a company and go for it?
Yeah, well, we actually went to school together by complete chance, and then Callum went off to win all of his medals, and I went to work in London and almost got run over by taxis on a daily basis and came up with the idea.
Yeah, no, I'd say, and then we reconvened after after Alex had gone to university and I'd done the Olympic spiel, and I was able to offer like some unique insight into the market, and Alex was able to bring all the expertise that he'd learned at university to try and bring this project to fruition. So it's a good partnership. We complement each other quite well as well as being part of that wider team.
How long have you been working on it for?
Since its first inception, it's probably about 3.5 years.
Yep.
But we've only been trading for, we started properly with our Kickstarter in June of last year in peak COVID time. So in that we raised just over £100,000 in our opening month. And since then we've been working despite COVID and Brexit's best efforts to make a big hole in our supply chain to get glasses delivered to people. And we've just today are shipping the final units to our to all of our backers.
Cool.
In terms of
sorry. Yeah.
No, you go ahead first. It's fine.
Where do you produce glasses? UK or somewhere else?
Yeah, so UK is the primary aggregation center, which makes life a lot easier.
Price point. I know it is priced slightly pricey, I would say. Maybe it's okay for professional cyclists, but the everyday commuter perhaps would be a bit too high. Is there any plans to bring that down, or do you kind of want to stick at that price range?
Yeah, absolutely. The reason the price is quite high just now is a mix of the fact that we need to drive economies of scale to bring the per unit cost down, because right now it's relatively high. Plus, because we are a new brand entering a market which is pretty fiercely brand loyal, we need to spend a lot of money educating customers. So we've kind of hedged our bets on our customer acquisition cost being really quite high. We're actually seeing that we've overestimated the cost, which is nice. It means we've been contingent in our estimate for pricing, but we are assuming that we need to do a lot more market education before we actually get those conversions in there. So that's one of the reasons, the two primary reasons that the cost is so high.
In terms of distribution, are you planning to go direct to consumer, or are there any partnerships with retail outlets?
We're going D2C initially, just because the margins on it are quite tight anyway. But we have, I can't say exactly who, but we have conversations in the works with several major distributors to look at broadening our footprint by going through third parties.
For the pitch, Alexander and Callum, that was the end of the question time. That was a really great pitch, so thank you very much.
Thanks a lot, guys.
So, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So next, I'll be bringing Justin from Orange Power. Hi, Justin. Hope you're well and ready. If you can, please go ahead with sharing your PowerPoint, and we'll start straight away.
Thank you very much. PowerPoint, okay?
Yeah, we can all see that.
Okay, cool. Right, so we're starting with the problem. So Orange Power, what we're trying to solve is the problem of the grid problem. So our product is called Grid Rewards. So basically in the UK, the grid spend about 7 billion per year just to reinforce the infrastructure, and just for 1 to 2 hours of the peak time, which is about 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And the problem we have is the domestic control system of the electricity is about the 1980s, it's very old. And the other part of the problem is we curtail a significant amount of the renewable energies every single year because of the grid infrastructure. And so last year, about 75% of the renewables was curtailed of the days. And so what we're trying to solve, another part is the customers, as a domestic customer, as myself, I cannot sell any of my flexibility back to the grid. So that's the three problem we see from the grid side of the issues linked to the domestic side. So what's the solution? As a part of the company, what we offer is to turn the household spare capacity into a power station. So we call ourselves a Airbnb in energy. So basically what we do is to link every individual electrical devices in your household, for example, electric heatings or heat pump, air conditioning or EVs or batteries, and link that to the grid and be able to trade with grid. So this is the product we offer. So we have an app that you can download and to use to link your devices through a piece of device like this and to our platform. So our platform will link to about different markets of different grid and different energy side of the market response. And if you don't have a hardware, for example, a up-to-date hardware on your thermostat or on your heating controllers, we can offer you the hardware as well, just to give you the chance to link to the app. So the market size is about, we started with the grid side, which is about 2.1 billion each year. And you can see the right-hand corner, the cost is growing. So this is the size of the market. So what we do in this business model and what we normally get for each customer from the grid, we got about £100 to £400 payment each time, every single year when they're attending different grid events. So we take about 30% of that payment as a service fee, which is about £30 to £100 for us. So we can do similar things to energy suppliers as a B2B service, which is the SaaS model. So why us? So we are filing a patent on the trading platform together with the hardware or different ways of trading with the grid. And we have a team ready, and we have a full stack, which is hardware and software solution. So this is kind of the simplified version of the, not simplified company. And you can see, I wouldn't go to the details. So this is the normal household and the normal technology. So the team, so we have a ready team. So myself, I used to work for National Grid, and I also did project with Google DeepMind on project. So Mahanda is our IoT manager. So he worked about 7 years and delivered about 7 million air conditioning customers through IoT. And we also have another 4 developers supporting us on the case. So the tractions, so we already signed 1 contract with the Ofgem Innovation Project, and we are delivering that part. And we're also getting another 3 contracts from different 3 grid, like UKPN, Scottish Power, and Electricity Northwest. So the total contract value is somewhere about around 600K for the longer term. So we are kind of on track to deliver this contract. So the money we're asking for is 150K, which is basically to hire additional 2 developers to the back end, to make sure all the coding side, and there's quite a bit of backlog we're trying to clear, and we are only the version 3 coming to version 4 at the moment. So we want to integrate that into a 1 month frequency. And so, sorry, just want to release myself into the sales side, because there's a lot of customers from the housing association, from local councils, and they're trying to use our product. We haven't got enough communication with them. So just release myself from the algorithm and coding and into a business development side. And that's it for the pitch. If you have any questions, please feel free to either find me in the email or just drop me a line from the LinkedIn.
So yeah, Justin, if you can stop sharing your screen, and then Judge will go ahead with questions and feedback.
Yeah.
got some feedback. When you said that was a simplified diagram, I mean, it was so complicated. You really need to go through and sort of really simplify what you're doing and come up with some very straightforward diagrams to make it very clear. Because there's an enormous amount of information in that presentation, and I think any person that's looking at it is just going to get a little lost. So yeah, and maybe some maybe getting a graphic designer involved to help with that would be a good idea.
Thanks for that.
Yeah, I agree with Frederick. So the whole deck should be really, shorter and clear to make for potential investors or whoever to read and just get the necessary information. And you can always provide more information later, at the next stages. So there is no need to put everything in one deck.
Yes, thanks for that.
I'd love to know a little bit. You said what the funds would be used for, but a bit about how much runway that would give you, because 150K doesn't typically get many startups very far. And I think as a VC, we look for kind of the funding to last about 18 months or so. So that's always quite good to highlight kind of how much runway that would give you.
Yeah, thanks for that.
In terms of the business model, so are pursuing both B2B and B2C, if I understood correctly?
That's right.
Anything you're focusing on? Because I assume, I know there's nothing wrong with pursuing both, but as an early stage company, you probably have limited resources. So which one is a focus one?
Yeah, at the moment we already got the contract to deliver. So and the focus is onboarding the customer side. And the next stage is once this part is finished, I think the next focus will be B2B. So the starting point will be B2C part.
Thank you.
I had a figure for 10,000 customers in there. So is that the Ofgem thing? Are they going to be onboarded through Ofgem, or is that separate?
So that's through the Scottish Power kind of and other DNO customers as well. So we've basically into our platform and give them the access to the cashback.
Yeah. Okay. So they signed. So you do have 10,000 customers signed up, or do you need to do quite a lot of work to get them on board?
So we do have about 3 months and to shifting these customers to the platform. So it's not properly signed up and on the platform yet.
But the contract's signed.
Yeah. So by the time of the let's say if I come back around September time, those customers will be kind of ready, and so gradually we'll get to there between now and properly in the next 12 months.
Any other questions or feedback? Because we still got 1 minute 30 seconds. So obviously, Justin would really appreciate any even feedback.
You are charging a 30% fee, aren't you? So how did you benchmark that fee? Where did you come up with that number?
Basically, we're trying to benchmark around the £30, and so that's the minimum we can get from the £150 cashback to the customer. So if the customer is a normal customer, so they're getting about £120 to £150, and that's why we say, okay, let's take 30% on the minimum of the service fee.
Okay.
Questions or feedback? I've still got 30 seconds left. I mean, if not, then Justin, maybe you can even ask questions to them about your pitch. Like,
quick question, Natasha. So I think we're quite interested in the Octopus Agile as well. So we're trying to do something very similar the other way around, not as a supplier, but as a technology provider. So what we're trying to do is link the customer to the grid and to get the cashback. And so we can take the Agile API as well. Would that something you'd be interested in the portfolio at all for different ways of getting the customers or work with the customers?
Yeah, essentially a question. So we're part of the wider Octopus group. We are quite separate. It's not really like a strategic fund, and we wouldn't really like leverage. We wouldn't really like strategically invest for them. I definitely think it's something worth exploring. You know, energy is expensive for consumers, but low margin for companies. So I think any way to kind of sweeten the energy deal that consumers get would be valuable. So yeah, feel free to reach out afterwards.
Thank you very much.
That's the end of the time. Thank you very much, Justin. That was a great pitch. And thank you for the judges for all the feedback. So I'll be bringing now Valborg from Hello Ella. Hi,
Hello,
hope you're
everyone.
ready. If you can just go ahead with sharing your presentation and we'll start straight away.
Yes. There we go. So, hello everyone. My name is Valborg Cortes Altus. Co-founder and CTO Nick Wevers, I've built Hello Ella. Hello Ella is a smart intake solution for travel companies, helping them to boost their bottom line business. So the next 4 minutes, I'm going to show you how it works, why our clients choose to work with us, and how we plan to grow. So me and Nick have worked with small and mid-sized travel companies for over 5 years. And from this experience, we know how hard it is for them to grow their business. Challenges they face in the travel industry are huge customer acquisition costs, low conversions on their website, and thin margins on their products. They know that in order to win, they must become more efficient and get a better return on their marketing investments. Yet there are barriers preventing them from getting to this necessary change. Most importantly, they don't have the skills. These type of travel companies are very good at creating trips. They're often specialists in a niche or specific destination, but they lack skills to automate or digitize successfully. They can't hire a person to do it because that's too expensive for them. And third, they pride themselves on their personal approach. Many solutions are too functional and don't take this into account, so that's why they don't work. There are 3 million travel companies out there facing this issue, and we've built Hello Ella for them. Our smart intake solution is a virtual travel specialist that generates more leads, increases conversion, and lowers sales costs. So how does that work? Our clients place a smart intake on their website and directly reach out to potential customers who need personal travel advice. The smart intake chatbot then talks to users about their travel wishes and makes this very personal by adapting the flow according to profile and behavior. Next, the travel company receives an overview of the intake with ready-to-use data for better, faster follow-up. Before I go on to tell you about our business model, you might be thinking at this point, oh great, here's another chatbot solution. There are thousands out there, they're all the same. True, except that we are different. First of all, like others, we provide a technical solution. But what others don't provide is the hard part, the actual design of the conversations. What we do is our fully pre-built setup that saves our clients time and money. Second, where other chatbots serve many industries, we have tailored all the conversations for travel. So this way our clients can directly apply it to their business and make sure their users get the best user experience. And third, we're more than a chatbot. With AI and data, we help human travel specialists to perform better and even automate part of their follow-up. So we founded Hello Ella last year in October. Now we have 9 paying clients in Europe, in our Dutch home market and other countries such as Spain, Croatia, and Iceland. We provide access to our solution through a subscription combined with usage-based pricing in different packages, ranging from 1,000 to 6,000 euros annually. Since our launch, we've received funding from an accelerated program and through a loan, and this has allowed us to build our MVP, test and validate our products, and kickstart commercial traction. Also, we've been able to realize our first API with a leading Dutch core travel system where our smart intake now connects directly to our clients' CRM.
30 seconds left.
In 2 years' time, we plan to grow to 1,800 clients and 430K MRR. And to realize this, we are raising a pre-seed investment of 400,000 euros, giving us a runway of 18 to 24 months, allowing us to grow our online marketing and sales engine, improve scalability of our platform, and to enhance the intake experience. So this is an important step in our ambition to build a full smart growth engine for specialist travel companies to help them to win in this market. And it would be great to talk to you about getting involved. Thank you.
So if you can just stop sharing the, yeah, great.
I thought really well delivered presentation, so thanks for that. I wanted to have a few questions asked, and this is something that an investor gets me really excited, is when you can show that the expenditure on business tools is creating a real return for the kind of end business. So you said you had trial clients. Would love to find out a bit more about how often they're interacting with the platform or software, what the user engagement has been, has there been an uptick in revenue as well as a result? So that kind of metrics would be really helpful.
Yeah, sure. Do you want me to share a couple of them now? Or
yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. So what we're seeing now is that the clients that we get in, we have a lot of interaction with them and with the platform during the onboarding and activation part. And what's really nice is when everything is set up, then they don't have to do a lot with the platform anymore, but they do get the intakes in daily. So we see that after they get a notification when an intake is done, basically within the 30 minutes, they access the dashboard and then go to view the intake and then follow up with the clients. So that's interesting. Another thing that we're learning is that we have a completion rate on the intakes by the end users between 50 and 70%. So that means 50 to 70% is completing the intake and 30% does not. So these are good numbers that we know from benchmarks. And the thing that we are looking to now with our clients is how many of these intakes are currently also resulting in bookings, which is a harder metric at the moment, also because of the market situation.
Not a fortunate time to launch a travel business, but
well,
see how
yeah.
The other thing I was curious as well is what the current adoption is amongst businesses for tools like this. So specifically in the travel sector, have you got any data on, travel sector spend X on, marketing tools or that kind of thing is also useful to benchmark?
Yeah, it's an interesting topic. I don't have the exact numbers right now. What we do see is basically all travel companies, they do have like a core travel system or use 2 or 3 systems combined together to do their full front end and back end from website to booking and administration. So they are used to tooling and onboarding and getting to work with stuff. What is less out there in travel is like specific SaaS solutions that really are a great fit for travel companies. So they try to work with a lot of solutions, but they need to adapt quite a lot to make it fit for their situation. So that's also why we specifically focus on this vertical at the moment.
Rich, I really enjoyed it. I think travel is a very exciting space these days. I think COVID has shown us the amount of how the industry is completely changing. I mean, we invested in about 3 travel companies all during COVID. So I think we're very bullish on this space. But what also quite interesting is the amount of different spaces they can really innovate in and very, very different solutions to very different problems. I suppose I wanted to give a bit of feedback on your deck because I see so many different people in the travel space as well. The first is because I think you also have a lot of the parts there, but maybe just the way you're positioning them. So the first slide on the problem, sorry, the solution rather, I think you had 1, 3, 2. I'll just work a bit on that just to make it flow a bit better so we can understand how that works. Maybe it also explain for people who don't fully understand how these travel agents work, kind of explaining a bit more of how the solution works. I know there's a whole hidden industry there, aggregators. And then in terms of the, I would put your customers kind of front and center. So to show that you have these customers onboarded already, I think that is quite exciting. And the more prominent you can make that, the better. And where you said you're different to everybody else, I think that slide could definitely be improved. I think that the examples you gave were quite generic in terms of why we're different to other chatbots or other travel companies. I think there's a lot more that you can add there that's a bit more specific because I mean we see so many different people coming pitch us about these different solutions and some of their SaaS product and API, and you really try to stand out specifically why you are solving this specific problem. That's kind of the general feedback I would give to the pitch deck.
Yeah. And what is, for you, the difference between, if you see like the generic thing, what would make it more specific? If you could name one thing. So
if I recall your slides, I think you said that we provide an aggregate solution. We use data, for example. Like saying we use data or AI is quite a general statement. But saying something a little bit more specific, like kind of showing, so currently maybe there is no solution for manually filtering between requests to to specific itineraries, and we help automate that because the customer first interacts with our chatbot, and then we give a summarized version to the agent, and nobody else is doing that. Something like that will be a lot more specific and a lot more understandable than saying, you know, we use data, for example.
Okay.
Thank you very much. That's the end of the time. That was a really great pitch. Thank you very much, Marvel.
Thank you all for your feedback as well. Cheers.
So now I'll be bringing Danielle from HUBHOUZE.
Hello.
Hi, Danielle. Hope you're well.
Hi.
If you can just go ahead sharing your presentation, and we'll start in straight away.
Yeah, absolutely. There we go. And then. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yep, it's all good from our side.
Okay, great. Let's just make it slightly bigger. Okay, great. Thank you for having me this evening, and I'm delighted to introduce you to HUBHOUZE. The problem is that the bathroom is a top priority for most homeowners renovating, but it's a challenging process that requires sourcing, selecting, and buying over 30 elements spread all across the internet and high street retailers, receiving multiple orders, finding a reliable contractor, and managing a project full of unknowns. It's a puzzle homeowners struggle to put together. The solution is a design-led e-commerce platform with collections of curated products and all-inclusive bathroom packages designed by architects from around the globe, along with a community of bathroom planners and highly vetted independent contractors. Using our platform, customers will select their new bathrooms by style and budget. For an affordable fee, get paired with a bathroom planner to implement a design of their choice into their existing bathroom space. 3D visuals, floor plans, and a custom shopping list are created. From our network of vetted bathroom fitters, they can select a contractor or appoint their own. We place the orders, manage the logistics, and set the scene to bring their new dream bathroom to life. We know it is unique and requires a level of human interaction. That's why we are a community-powered platform. Through technology, we bring together all-inclusive bathroom packages, bathroom planners, and vetted contractors, a streamlined renovation platform to design, plan, and build, all in one place. Sorry. I am Daniele, the founder and CEO of HUBHOUZE, with 10 years of experience in interior design, business, and digital marketing. In December 2019, Rachel joined me as a co-founder, and together we embarked on a journey to validate our assumptions. So here is what we did. On the back of a single landing page and £4,500 in marketing budget, we acquired 180 leads, converted 14 into customers, and sold 16 bathrooms. We generated £93,200 in revenue, with an average ticket of £5,700 and gross margins ranging from 40 to 50%. The UK home renovation sector is worth 81.9 billion per year, and it's ripe for disruption. So let's put this into perspective. We are 14.6 million homeowners. In 2019, 833,000 renovated their bathrooms. With an average expenditure of £2,000 in materials per bathroom, we have a 1.67 billion business opportunity on the table every year. Our route to market is 100% digital. Our approach includes strong online presence on all social media, partnerships with influencers, brand ambassadors, customer referrals, and many more. Our competitors are all about selling commodities, shifting products from point A to point B without any added value to the consumer. We are the only community-powered and design-led e-commerce platform offering an end-to-end solution to the customer. Our financials predict an accumulated revenue of 47 million and 1.3 market share over a 5-year period, which is conservative projection given the market size.
Less than 36.
We are raising £650,000, and we have SCIS and EIS advance assurance. The money raised will be spent on technology, hiring 5 people, curating our community of bathroom planners and contractors, sourcing products and designing bathroom packages, marketing, and advertising. Thank you so much for listening, and I will now take your questions. Okay.
Presentation. Really great concept. I actually recently renovated a bathroom and found it to be a complete headache, so very much resonated with me. I guess one of the questions that kept coming to my mind is, this is a pain point that people have, but why is it one that you want to challenge, and kind of what motivates you to do this venture?
Well, I started my career 10 years ago as an interior designer for property developers, very affluent customers in central London. And later on, I kind of got involved into digital marketing, growth hacking. So I started getting lots of inquiries from customers that wanted to renovate their bathrooms, but they couldn't afford my design fees because I was used to do like bespoke designs, for a very, charging like £1,500 per design. So the everyday customer with £5,000 budget, £3,000 budget, they can't really afford a design fee. So, and then that's why I kind of created this concept. So it's pretty much like my passion is what I've been doing for many years, not for this market, but there is a solution to address it, definitely.
Have you thought about distribution? Because I think it's one of those things where, people see the platform after they've discovered how difficult it is and they go, wish I had that. But, then it's kind of too late for the next 10, 15 years. So how are you going to kind of target the exact point where people are facing this problem?
Well, for us, it's all about our strategy, which is targeting people before they know they need a problem. So every consumer doing our business validation, every customer, they had a Pinterest board before they actually started renovating. So what we need to do is target the consumer with visually engaging content, and then telling them about our product. So by the time they need a bathroom renovation, they will know what we do. So with our landing page, for example, our strategy was that, are you looking to renovate your bathroom? So all the landing pages, they were very sharp. Are you looking to buy a new bathroom? Here is what we did. And that's why we were very successful in able to kind of validate the market. So it's all about targeting the consumer before they actually need, nurture them with visually engaging content like a shoppable Pinterest. And then by the time they need the bathroom renovation, they will come to us.
Can you just tell us a little bit about your revenue model? I mean, what are your fees that you're taking, etc.?
We don't take any fees. The concept is that we are able to design bathroom collections in a very similar way that the fashion industry works. For example, you don't go out buying fabric and garments. You buy a t-shirt. That is the same. So we create collections of bathrooms using CGIs, which are very similar to photograph these days. And then we put together all the elements that compose that look. So the customers will be able to pick to choose that design, and we make money by selling the product. So instead of actually charging a design fee, we won't do like custom bathrooms for the customers. They will choose from our collection, and our collection is going to be like massive. We can just launch like one collection every month without buying any stock, without buying any samples. So,
okay, so you have everything in a warehouse already ready to go?
We don't have a stock. So basically what we need, we gather the samples, okay, from in the same process that I will design a custom bathroom. And then I will do a CGI, I will do a project spec, okay, and then with the project spec, we sell the product. So we don't charge them a design fee. The difference here is because we will be able to sell the same design to loads of customers at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's not like a custom project. We don't go out designing a bathroom every time a customer comes to us. On our platform, they will see like a massive collection of bathrooms that every month we were able to launch, and then they pick from our collection, and that's why we are able to streamline the design process and scale.
Okay, and what sort of margin would you target then?
Between 40 to 50. We were making 40% when we were doing validation, but with scale, we are able to do 50% gross margin, and then we, in a long term, we can do up to 60% gross margin, depending on the relationship we have with the suppliers.
Okay.
Great. Thank you very much, Danielle. That was a very great pitch.
Thank you.
Yep. Thank you very much. Okay, so next, no worries. So next, I'll be bringing Morgan from NOICE.
Hello.
Hi, Morgan. Hope you're well. Nice to have you again. If you can just go ahead with sharing your presentation. Thank you very much. And then we'll just start straight away.
Sure. So good evening, everyone. My name is Morgan, and I'm the CEO and co-founder of NOICE. So quick question. What do we do every morning and every night? That's right. You see it with the picture. We brush our teeth. So let me ask you 3 quick questions. Do you really know what is in your toothpaste? The usual answer is not really. That's why we made NOICE organic and natural. Secondly, did you know that 1.5 billion of plastic tubes end up in the landfill yearly, polluting our planet and our oceans? That's terrible. That's why we made NOICE recyclable and zero waste. And finally, for the one that have tried the other natural and zero waste toothpaste out there, did you find the taste fresh? Not really is the usual answer. That's why we researched with dentists to actually create the perfect alternative. So let me introduce you to NOICE, the world's first organic and zero waste dental gel subscription at just $4.95 US a month. So with NOICE, we create a world where having a positive impact is as easy as brushing our teeth. And everyone brushes their teeth, sorry. So it's actually the most used personal care product on a daily basis. So the market is huge, as you can see. It's huge, but it's also complex. But the current actors, they are either playing with the customer trust, either not very affordable with a toothpaste tube that can cost up to 14 USD, exclusive, and the other zero waste hero brands out there that I personally admire are just missing on the customer experience with powder and tab toothpaste. NOICE has it all. We bring trust to the market with an organic certification. We bring the best in-mouth experience with high-quality ingredients. And our subscription model is accessible and affordable, delivered right at your doorstep. We are also the best team to bring NOICE to the market. Together, we regroup 17 years in entrepreneurship and 15 years in marketing. Myself, strong of 5 years in advertising, focusing on operation and communication. Clément, the inventor of NOICE, focusing on innovation and business development. Max, marketing and recruitment expert. Val, with our corporate finance and governance guru. And finally, Adam, that worked with the biggest organization in the world, including the UN, advising us on company culture and content. And the team is growing today with new hires and good collaboration settled with our partners. The team is dedicated to bring NOICE to the market through 2 different channels. The first one is a D2C approach. So it's a subscription model, easy. You go online, subscribe. The first month you receive a bottle with a pump, and then we send you refills automatically at your doorstep on a quarterly basis. And those refills, they are fully recyclable. We soft launched our website in the US and the UK since January and got 10K visitors since then. And the consumer are already falling in love with the product, as you can see here with some consumer reviews. The second approach is taking on B2B opportunities, partnering with key retailers and distributors, and also the booming market of the refill shop. So we are proudly today in the top 5 selling product on Loop US website, and also available at 10 different locations worldwide. So we focus on two countries, the UK and the US, to establish NOICE as the sustainable oral care brand reference. And we are doing so by building and leveraging on our community through PR with video content that just stick into your mind, creating then educational content with our influencers, conversion through performance marketing, obviously, retention with our model, the subscription, and our product that people really fall in love with, and closing the loop with referral program, of course. So today it's about establishing NOICE as the sustainable oral care brand reference, but we are in this dynamic of always keep thinking outside of the tube. So tomorrow we will also focus on combining the usual oral care focus, oral care routine, with wellness benefits. So we are looking to scale up to 20 million US annual recurring revenue by 2024. We were selected by Temasek Sustainability Accelerator Hyperspac in the top 10. And today we are closing our seed round and looking to raise the last part of it with 75% committed. That will help us scale and go get those first subscribers out. So thank you, and join us on our mission to clean up the planet and all the teeth in it.
Thanks for the pitch, Morgan. I think it was really, really clear throughout. So really good pitch on that. Could you maybe walk us through your unit economics for your toothpaste?
Unit economics meaning COGS, is it what you mean?
So the cost of the individual bottle, and then how much you sell it for, and the margins you would make on selling that individual item.
Sure. So the margin varies between D2C or B2B, obviously. The margin are in between 35 to 40% today. The product itself, I would say the formula that we own, by the way, and the bottles is not what is costing the most. Today is the shipping and the fulfillment part that is kind of eating the margin.
And where do you manufacture NOICE?
Today we manufacture NOICE with a partner in Thailand because we were based in Singapore before. So all these NOICE stories started in Asia. And today we are looking to localize the production closer to our markets too, keeping the Asia hub to open more Asian countries later on, and having a made in Europe, made in US formula too in the coming years.
Amazing, thanks.
Yeah, so in terms of regulations, I think you mentioned that some certifications required. So could you tell us a little bit more how long does it take to get them and how painful the process is?
So weirdly, toothpaste is actually into the cosmetic category, which means that it's not a drug, so it doesn't go over any proper regulation. This being said, for us, it was important to still follow the process, meaning that to be sold in the EU, there is a full file to file. Sorry for my English, that we went on and make sure that we will be also fully compliant with FDA requirements. The certification we are after today is an organic certification. It's not at all mandatory. It's to build on the trust from a consumer perspective and bringing onto this market something more than a claim saying that it's all natural and working with those kind of organisms.
Thank you.
In terms of capturing the customer long term, we've seen a lot of subscription boxes kind of hype up in the beginning and then die off afterwards. How do you plan to be that kind of long term brand where it's like my go-to toothpaste?
Sure. So from a product perspective, of course, we put a huge effort into the product we developed in terms of quality experience as user first, and we plan on expanding our range within the oral care industry. So it's not only a one-stop for toothpaste, but becoming like a one-stop for bathroom and oral care in general. The second point is the brand that we are building, which has been very important for us in terms of tone of voice, our direction, who we are talking to, and this community, creating this special bond with our brusher, as we call them, in order to encourage loyalty. The reward and affiliate program participates also to this kind of loyalty, and we are also in this mindset of driving sustainable behavior, easy, simple, and light-hearted. So getting on board those people to facilitate the life of more while keeping our planet clean.
And your initial traction of around, you said 10,000 people visit the website. Where did that mostly come from? Was that organic traffic or is that kind of paid marketing?
Yeah, so it's a bit of both, but for marketing today, we are not officially launched in the sense that we are in the test and learn phase. So spending a very few amount of budget, which is around 2K USD per month, to find out the right channels, the right audience. Prior to launching our websites, we did a successful Kickstarter campaign that reignited in 2 months over 600 pre-orders, and we raised 55K USD on the platform. That was validating the concept.
Thank you very much, Morgan. That was a very good pitch. Unfortunately, it's the end of the time. Yeah, so thank you very much. So yeah, I'll be bringing Cindy from Umazi now. Hi, Cindy. Great to have you back again.
Hi. How is everybody today?
Yeah. So if you can also obviously present your presentation, and then we'll start straight away.
Sure. Okay. So everybody can see my screen?
Yep. It's all good. I'm ready whenever you are.
Great. So good evening, everybody. Thank you for having us today. Again, following last night's event. I'm Cindy, founder and CEO of Umazi. So Umazi is looking to revolutionize the due diligence processes across industries by creating a decentralized service. Our aim is to create a network of trusts between businesses and clients. I wanted to spend just a second on what due diligence is. And in most cases, it's a regulatory requirement that is conducted when entering into a business transaction or facilitating a financial transaction. It facilitates risk assessment. Now, the idea of Umazi was born while I was working as a regulatory consultant for a tier 1 bank implementing regulations. And with every regulatory project that I consulted on, involved communicating with clients through a bunch of paperwork processes. What I found was the clients were inundated with requests and being asked to produce the same information over and over again. So this was a really huge burden for clients specifically. Umazi solves the problem by allowing corporates to create a digital identity that represents their corporate due diligence credentials. These credentials are validated and verified by a regulated institution. And with this identity, they can repeat an onboarding process, for example, with a different institution. This strengthens the compliance when credentials are being reused. The client can provision the credentials visibly that is established by one entity with another. With the help of Accenture through the FinTech Innovation Lab, we were able to articulate just how big this problem really is, but also the potential that is in parallel for the bulk standard KYC onboarding process for FIs. Accenture also noted that the Umazi solution is a rather unique offering, offering continuous KYC compliance through a portability of verified credentials. A much needed solution, they said. The Umazi solution is simple. It allows for the cross-industry sharing of due diligence results in a transparent, cost-effective way, and is both regulatory and regionally agnostic. We built Umazi on Corda, R3's open source blockchain network. Corda was specifically designed with the finance industry in mind and is already trusted by over 300 financial institutions. Umazi is not looking to disrupt the whole market entirely. We're looking to seamlessly integrate with existing solutions. To enhance the compliance, we're not looking to compete with existing solutions. Instead, we will enhance the due diligence data with more relevant real-time data, while alleviating the need to manage multiple data sources. Why now, you say? Well, COVID's kind of been our friend, because digital innovation has been accelerated by 7 years, according to McKinsey. This is evidenced through the 80% of FIs adopting digital onboarding. And at 24% revenue increase, who wouldn't want that? Now, the market opportunity for us is fairly large. It's not sector or regional specific. Yet our current focus is law firms, because they've recently come into scope of the anti-money laundering regulations. Alongside that, we're also looking to partner with a number of institutions. Our business model is that of a network facilitator between regulated institutions, corporate clients, and third-party validators. And we expect to earn revenue from all of these through a tier-based subscription model. We're currently raising funds to ensure that the product is production ready for wider adoption. Investor interest currently varies between early stage funds and angels, and Umazi is looking to close its current funding round out in May. Now, you're probably asking how we're going to spend that money. Well, aside from product development, we're also looking to convert some of our current client to commercial engagements as direct market client access. In addition, Umazi is also progressing an ISP conversations with large ISPs opportunities for specifically in this space, with a total estimated value of just circa 100 million sterling. The team consists of industry experts between the finance industry and disruptive tech, as well as
previous startup experience, and business development. The team is currently based across London and South Africa. I thank you for your time today, and I'll now take any questions.
Hey Cindy, great seeing you again, and great pitch. Wanted to hear a bit more about the conversations you've been having with organizations to adopt this, and equally actually how this interacts with other kind of compliance systems. Obviously some people have to fill out forms elsewhere, and so how it interacts with those would be great.
Yes, great. Thank you, Natasha. It's great to see you again as well. So in short, if you think about the onboarding process, the form might look different, but the actual credentials that's being requested is by and large the same, specifically for a financial institution. Now, if we go to, say, a vendor onboarding process, some of those credentials are by and largely also the same. But then there's additional requirements that a vendor onboarding due diligence process will require that a financial institution doesn't require. So for example, a global pharma company would be interested in your anti-slavery policy or your goods sourcing process. Now, in that respect, what happens is once you've got your initial identity established, you will just expand on that. But the benefit of Umazi is you don't have to reproduce everything all over again. So that answers one part of your question, I think. The second part to your question is how do we integrate with everybody else? Well, we're actually in discussions with one of the providers of KYC due diligence for financial institutions. What that means is two things. For us, it means it is over 400 million clients that is pre-validated and verified already that can start utilizing the platform. And they've got multiple financial institution relationships as well. So from a processing perspective, from a business optimization perspective, it's also beneficial for the KYC platform because it means they don't have to do that heavy lifting every single time. So it's one process, the identity gets created, and they can effectively ask the client, are you interested in having to not reproduce this information again by creating the identity on the Umazi platform? There's kind of automatically created, but they consent then to the identity actually by validating, yes, this is my account. Does that answer your question, Natasha?
Thanks.
No worries.
Could you tell us a little bit about the current status of the platform and what further development is required? Because you mentioned there were development costs were going to be quite significant. Yes,
sure. Thank you, Frederick. So as I mentioned, because we're industry and regionally agnostic, we've taken a very calculated approach in terms of building out the platform. So the back-end process, which basically drives the true technology and our secret sauce of Umazi, is largely complete. What we've done is we've built a very simplistic UI for a front end to be able to interact with the relevant clients. And as we progress with our client base, we'll probably expand on that UI further due to the client feedback as well. So with our current client, which is a law firm, they've been instrumental in getting to us where we are today in terms of what they would want to see from the platform when they bring a platform like Umazi in. At the same time, we don't anticipate that UI to always be utilized by a financial institution or everyone. So we'll make it available through just direct integration. So it slots straight into the current onboarding processes that some financial institutions or other organizations have had. So it's kind of like the silent partner in the background without necessarily having to have too much development costs in that. So that's sort of where we are at the moment. We're progressing all of those discussions and making sure that we strategically build the platform to be able to facilitate those interactions. Does that answer your question, Frederick?
Thank you very much, Cindy. That's the end of the question time. That was a really great pitch again. Thank you very much.
You're very welcome. If you want to get in touch with us, please do feel free to just contact me.
Okay, great. So yeah, I'll be bringing Indiana from WEDO.
Hi. Sorry. Yeah. So I was also a pitch last night at 3 a.m. So I'm a bit disheveled. I've been working actually night and this morning all day long. So please excuse me, my general presentation. I'm going to look to share my screen.
Yes, please. And whenever you're ready, please do go ahead.
Okay, so I want to go into, yeah, okay, brilliant. So first of all, I just want to say thank you for having me here. Can you guys see my screen?
Sorry,
can you hear me?
You can also turn off your, yeah, we can hear you and we can also see your screen.
Okay. We're all good, right? Can I start? Yeah. Okay, so thank you very much for the opportunity to talk to you guys tonight about what we're doing, we do. We're a live streaming commerce platform, so a social network with neobanking. So I'm Indiana Gregg, I'm the CEO and founder of WEDO, and the last few of us have been pitching all night, so I hope that this all goes down good. But anyway, just to get started, here's a fun fact about the financial services market. It's $25.5 billion projected value of the global services market by next year. And I know nobody thinks this is a fun fact, but between international payments, solution, traditional banking, and financing, it's a pretty hefty market to tackle. And these are a lot of competitors who will be tackling. So we're the first digital networking platform that combines an open freelance marketplace with, with neobanking solutions. It's a one-stop shop for all non-enterprise business. It lets you take a client, if you're a business, from booking to payment in one centralized place. And the tech works like this. You invite your clients to come onto a conference call. You do that through the application. And they can buy a ticket or a subscription to your conference. You provide your goods or services and directly into your WeDo debit account. And we're basically giving away the video conference solution and the networking tools for free up to a point of usage per month. Then we go SaaS. We make our real money by being the client's business bank account. And for us, that adds a ton of value for us, but to also the business and their end client or consumer. And I'll explain a little bit. We're offering a rung in the ladder at no cost for new businesses. An active debit account is worth $500 per user to our valuation as a company. Provide to the business is that we eliminate the need for both the business and the consumer to hop between multiple platforms, multiple SaaS payments, and also deal with the logistical nightmare that ensues because of that. And I'm talking about chasing invoices, onboarding your clients, creating ticket sales or subscription sales to your clients, and actually selling live to them in real time. We get rid of all that. We're like A to Z. And you bank with us and deploy that money instantly. So those are the benefits to the business, to the consumer, to the businesses. And to their end clients, we've created a social networking platform that allows them to pay family and friends, split payments, and that kind of process. I think, and kind of flip forward then, because I don't have that much time. So we already know there's a really huge market for the gig economy. It's a $1 trillion market just between like wellness and consultants. If you add on e-learning and the rest of the gig economy, yeah, it's a $1 trillion market. So, but nobody has done what we're doing yet, mostly because in order to accomplish what we're doing, a business has to have from the start. It's not something we can just tack on to an existing payment solution or a gig platform like Upwork or Fiverr.
The end of the time, you can still continue, but it will just eat away in your questioning time.
Okay, so another major selling point for us gaining market share is being able to charge less for transactions that happen on the site, because we're both the platform and the bank, so we can combine and reduce our costs and pass on that benefit to our customer. And that makes it really special, because there's 7 million people. There are not enough jobs. We need to, as a kind of an infinite game, onboard entrepreneurship, more solopreneurs, more people who create business and employ more people for the future. And for us, that's kind of what puts a skip in our step. Wake up every morning. So one last slide before questions. I just would like to show you. We haven't launched yet, and it wouldn't be appropriate for us to do so until we have all our ducks in a row. So since we're building with and dealing with banking regulations, we have actually gone out and gotten coverage over the 50 federally in the 50 United States, over Europe, and also with the FCA to provide a BIN banking solution, debit card, and accounts in these months that we've been live as a startup. And we've also created a pipeline of 400,000 businesses in our immediate network that we're ready to approach. And we've built an MVP. We've torn that up, scrapped it up, built something new, and we're ready to deploy soon. So we're going to start in Austin, Texas, Glasgow, Scotland, and Berlin, Germany, in order to work with markets under our regulatory umbrella. And it's worth mentioning, we've already raised 500,000 pounds, and we have that in the bank. Our team has worked on Sweat super lean for the last 9 months. And yeah, I guess that's really all to tell you, other than thank you. And well, one last thing about our team and our investors. Our anchor investor was the former founding CFO of PayPal, and was also the treasurer of Silicon Valley Bank, who anchored our investment. He's also a director in the company and works day-to-day inside the business. And yeah, we also had a recent unicorn from the fintech industry, Victoria Van Limit Invest from Lendable. So we believe very firmly that everybody has knowledge, everyone has a skill, and that inside this market of the micro business, there's a lot to be staked in the game of those of that market. So we're going after businesses who have customers, and we're a B2B2C SaaS model. So yeah, that's me. I've been up like 8 hours now. I hope that you guys kind of get you.
Thank you very much.
If you have questions.
Yeah.
Thank you.
If you can also stop sharing your screen now, we'll go ahead with the questions.
Okay, thank you.
Hey, Indiana, thanks so much for that pitch, and really, good on you for powering through this late hour. Really reflects well as an entrepreneur. Just a quick question in terms of your platform, that'll look at your website as well. What's the big? I mean, I know you say that you want to make this kind of like easy online course sharing if you are like a solo entrepreneur. But how can you bring people away from platforms like Teachable, for example, to really adopt your platform?
I think you need to bring people away. I think that what's really important is, and I know this from my creative industry experience, is when you're marketing, you want to be everywhere anyway. What we want to do is hook you in, give you a seamless platform that's irresistible, and get you to onboard into your debit account, make that active, because we know that one user is worth $500 if they have an active debit account. So let's give them the tools they need to build their business, right? So we've been thinking this through. We've gone through numerous iterations with surveys on research.net, and you know, there are a lot of people hurting right now, and we just need to solve one simple problem so they can start generating cash for them. And the reason why we're doing this is I just went through an entire trajectory on Upwork for 5 years as a consultant. I set my goal for the first year. I was like, I'm gonna make 100 on this. I can sell anybody a website, I can build them an app. I've got skills, right? So I went through the process and I started noticing, I was like, right, they're taking like 10% until I sell 10 grand, and then they're taking a SaaS from me, and then I'm not getting paid. They're holding that money for quite a long time. And so I started familiar with it and building iterations, looking at it, kind of playing around with various ideas and what would hook me, you know, because I was their customer, right? And what I need as a consultant is an A to D C solution, like where I'm not paying like 5 people just to get to my end result, and I'm not chasing invoices, right? So the reason why I stuck with up for that time frame is that, oh, I thought this through, this is good, but the end of the day, I was like, okay, why aren't they giving me a solution that doesn't feel like I'm being raped? I've got to pay to play. I've got to pay to offer my services. All this entire advertising hoovering up data model, like, you know, really pissed me off. And what people need is a way to get from you know to the end result. Like, I'm sorry, it's just like I'm really passionate about it.
No worries.
I'll let you stop.
No worries. Obviously, thank you for.
And I'm really tired. I probably.
No. No worries at all. Obviously, great on you for obviously powering through, because you were in the event last night as well. But yeah, thank you very much. So yeah, so to wrap up, obviously, thank you to all the judges for tonight. Thank you for all your feedback and your questions to the startups. I'm sure they were really great and insightful as well. And thank you to the startups for joining us for the pitches. They were all great. And of course, thank you to all the attendees for attending the event tonight. Hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did. And last but not least, we also have networking sessions, which you can go ahead by clicking on networking. And of course, this is a great time for judges and the startups to obviously catch up on the things that they might have missed out. And yeah, that's pretty much it from us. Thank you for joining us tonight.